Hello and welcome to today's lesson on Innovation and Stakeholder Communication. Today, we'll explore how innovation doesn't just happen in boardrooms or brainstorming labs. It often starts with your team. When employees feel valued, supported, and heard, they're far more likely to contribute ideas that lead to real improvements. We'll look at how to create the right conditions for knowledge sharing, encourage staff participation, and develop a culture that supports creativity, collaboration, and open communication. This lesson is all about turning day-to-day conversations into meaningful opportunities for progress. Let's begin with something simple but powerful: creating the space for people to share. Great ideas often come from everyday workers who spot a better way of doing things. But without the right environment, those ideas stay locked inside. That's why organizations need to be open and genuinely interested in new suggestions. Many large companies already embrace this mindset. For example, they might offer employees dedicated time away from routine tasks just to think creatively. It could be a retreat, a free-thinking Friday, or simply a quiet afternoon set aside for innovation. This approach helps people feel that their ideas matter, and when they feel that way, they're far more likely to speak up. So, small changes in how time is used can unlock big potential. Now, it's not just about the mindset. It's also about having practical tools in place to support idea sharing. Encouraging your staff to contribute doesn't have to be complicated. You can set up a suggestion boxes, a team meetings dedicated to idea sharing, a designated creative areas in the workplace, a digital suggestion spaces on the company intranet. These tools don't just collect ideas. They show that the organization is actively listening. Simple systems, when used well, can create a powerful sense of ownership and involvement. Now that we've seen how important it is to encourage ideas, let's take it further and look at how to build a knowledge-sharing culture. Creating this kind of culture means making it normal and easy for people to share what they know, including experiences, feedback, tips, and even lessons learned from mistakes. There are 6 key elements that help build this culture. 1. Keeping the communication transparent. 2. Organizing scheduled meetings. 3. Engaging people via conversations. 4. Telling success stories. 5. Creating a knowledge base. 6. Promoting an open-door policy. In the following slides, we'll break down each of these and explore how they work in real workplaces. The first step in building a knowledge-sharing culture is to keep communication transparent. Transparency means that information isn't hidden behind closed doors or reserved for just a few people. It flows openly, across teams and roles, so everyone can stay informed and feel included. When communication is direct and clear, employees feel more comfortable expressing their own thoughts and ideas. This helps drive progress because when people are heard, they're more likely to contribute. An open communication culture isn't just about talking. It's also about listening to feedback, concerns, and suggestions. For example, if a manager shares key updates with the whole team every week, instead of only telling team leads, it helps everyone understand where the organization is headed and how they fit in. Still on transparency, there's another important point here: avoiding unequal access to information. If only certain people get the full picture, it creates an imbalance. Teams may feel excluded, unsure, or even demotivated. That's why sharing knowledge openly is so crucial. When knowledge flows freely, trust grows. People begin to collaborate more, take initiative, and support each other because they're not working in the dark. Transparency isn't about sharing everything, all the time. It's about making sure people have access to the right information to do their jobs and the freedom to ask for more. Alright, now that we've tackled communication, let's move into how meetings can support this culture too. Meetings might not sound exciting, but when used well, they are a core part of knowledge sharing. Regular office gatherings, such as panel discussions or team catch-ups, give employees a chance to connect with leadership and each other. It's about making space for ideas to be raised, feedback to be given, and voices to be heard. Importantly, face-to-face interaction builds trust. It's easier to raise a concern or float an idea when you've met the people involved and have a relationship with them. For example, a mid-sized company started holding monthly Ask Me Anything sessions with directors. Staff from all departments could bring questions or suggest improvements directly to leadership. Not only did this create more engagement, but some of the best process improvements came from these informal Q&As. So, a well-run meeting is more than a formality. It's a platform for inclusion and growth. Now, moving on to the third key area, conversations. Ideas don't always come from formal meetings. Often, they arise in casual conversations, quick chats over coffee or spontaneous debates during lunch. When people who think alike get talking, exciting things can happen. That's why it's important to create opportunities for interaction, not just between team members, but across different parts of the business. These moments can also be designed. Business events, cross-department lunches, or networking afternoons all help create the conditions for natural, meaningful conversations. Let's say a marketing staff member chats with someone from IT during a team building day and realizes there's a faster way to deliver campaign results. That kind of idea may never surface in a weekly report, but it can in conversation. So, to build a culture of innovation, support the kind of conversations that happen outside of meeting rooms, not just inside them. Next up, success stories. A good story does more than just entertain. In the workplace, it teaches, inspires, and builds connections. That's why one of the most effective ways to spread knowledge is simply by sharing real experiences. Leaders, in particular, have a valuable role here. When they talk openly about their wins and even their failures, it shows that learning is part of the culture. In today's digital workplace, these stories can be shared in team chats, newsletters, or even quick video updates. They don't have to be grand or polished, just real. These moments create a sense of belonging and motivation that no manual ever could. So, what happens when someone learns something useful, but no one else hears about it? That's where a knowledge base comes in. This is a central space, usually digital, where people can store and access shared insights. It might include how-to guides, lessons learned, FAQs, or even tips collected from team meetings. Think of it as the collective brain of your organization. Without a proper system, knowledge tends to get lost in inboxes or forgotten after a project ends. Worse, people start holding on to information, not because they want to, but because there's no easy way to share it. One example, a logistics company built a simple internal wiki using free tools. Within weeks, it became the first stop for staff looking up processes or troubleshooting issues. It saved time and reduced repeated questions to managers. A good knowledge base helps everyone work smarter, not harder. And finally, open door policy. This isn't just about whether your physical door is open. It's about whether your team feels they can approach you, ask questions, share concerns, or offer ideas, without fear. A strong knowledge-sharing culture depends on this sense of psychological safety. People need to trust that they won't be dismissed or judged when they speak up. When leaders encourage this mindset, barriers come down. Teams collaborate better, communicate more honestly, and feel more united. For example, one team leader began setting aside just 10 minutes a day for drop-in chats. Over time, staff used that time to clarify tasks, offer feedback, and even suggest new ways of working. It built connections and saved time in the long run. The open door policy isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, consistent actions that make people feel included and respected. That brings us to the end of our session on innovation and stakeholder communication. Today, we explored how innovation doesn't just come from the top. It grows when people are empowered to share. We looked at ways to encourage knowledge sharing, build trust, and make communication part of the everyday culture. These strategies may seem simple, but they can transform the way your workplace thinks, learns, and grows. Feel free to ask if anything's unclear, or if you'd like to explore any of the ideas further. Goodbye, and see you next time.